Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the February 12th, 2012 trade update and market update. I'd like to start today by taking a look at the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq is extremely overbought. Now, if you go back and look at the history of the Nasdaq, it very rarely runs much more than 300 points without some sort of a significant or fairly significant pullback to a support level, or at least the 20-day moving average. We are currently at about 325 points or so since our last pullback, which is down here. This is extremely overdue to at least come down and touch the 2475 level. So I am looking for some sort of a break of this extremely steep trend line this week, and maybe come back and at least come down towards this 2480, 2475 area in the NDX. Now that said, I'm still extremely bullish in the markets. The charts, whether you're looking at the Nasdaq, the SPX, or the Russell, are very, very bullish. But like I said, I believe the Nasdaq in particular, which has been the leader of this whole thing, to make some sort of a support touch, most likely this week. So for the week, I would say the markets are likely to come back and fish for some support levels. I think the directional traders will see this as any support touch as a buying opportunity, and will probably strongly buy back into the markets. So you'll have to watch that. But short term, your risk is to the downside. If you come in here to the, let's see, if we come and look at the SPX, again, we're into this resistance level. We're due on the SPX for a 20-day moving average touch, and probably a pullback into this trend line if the Nasdaq backs off at all. And let's see, the Russell, again, we have this very steep uptrend line. Now the rut can go 160 points without a strong pullback. If you look at the bottom of 740, that puts us at 900. I just don't think that it's going to hold this trend line when we get some weakness in the Nasdaq. I think it'll probably pull down a little bit. This index in itself has generally been lagging. The Nasdaq has been the strongest. The SPX has been pretty strong. The Dow was lagging earlier. Now that has switched over to the Russell lagging. So any sell-off in the Nasdaq should pull this down at least to a 20 moving average. I'm hoping actually it comes down to the 780 level, and we can talk about that when we look at the positions. But I expect that maybe some point this week. And of course, if we get good news out of Greece, and the markets are going to continue to go, but we're definitely overdue for some sort of a retracement, at least short term. The Russell would stay in an uptrend till all the way down to 760 probably before I'd even worry about the uptrend breaking. So we got a lot of downside room here. Back to the SPX, again, a pullback to here would be completely normal. If we get a deeper than normal pullback, we'll come down to about 1280, which would continue to be extremely bullish. Even if we came down all the way to 1280, it's still bullish for the charts longer term. With the Nasdaq, again, at least a 20-day moving average touch is coming fairly soon, I would think. And for the Dow, we've hit our resistance area. We've turned. We are actually at the 20-day moving average here, more or less. Again, if the Nasdaq breaks down, I'd expect this to come down and touch the trend line here. As far as the VIX, well, the VIX is telling us we're bullish too. We're coming into our downtrend line. This points more to a bullish. The RVX came into its downtrend line. Again, we're at a steep uptrend line support on the RUT chart. We're at a downtrend line resistance on the RVX. Normally, 95% of the time, I'd say the Russell's going up. But again, because of the Nasdaq overextension, I'm thinking we have more to drop on this. So that's typically what I'm thinking of the markets. A drop this week to a support level in the buyer. Then, unless we get some really bad news out of somewhere, when we hit any of these support levels here, we got to be looking for the bulls to step back in. On the Dow, I would say, anywhere in a 12.5. On the Nasdaq, hits a 20-day moving average. I would think that's going to be a seen as a buying opportunity. On the SPX, the 20-day moving average here, or the bottom of this trend line, is going to be seen as a buying opportunity. And on the Russell, like I said, there's a buying opportunity here, but that may not hold if the rest of the market comes down, and it will push down maybe into this area here, the 780 area, and that's going to be seen as a buying opportunity. All right, so that said, let's take a look at our positions. We only have 2 positions open right now. I have this bearish butterfly for March, which has gotten beat up a little bit on the upside this month, but again, it was nothing too drastic. I mean, we get down a halfway max loss on this. It's not a big deal. It's fairly normal. As long as the markets chill out for a while, we can usually maintain a pretty big up move. So, at this point, we're down about $80 or pretty much break even on this. And if we get our retest and a bounce, we should be able to stay with it. If the market just starts really pushing up hard, our next roll point is at 840, unless we run into a delta theta problem or a total delta problem, which is unlikely. I think we're going to hit 840 before we run into that, and that's the next roll point on this trade. As far as the other trade that's on is the February M3 trade. So let's take a look at that. Here is the February M3 trade. If again this got into trouble on the upside, where kind of because of a lack of just staying with the market here, I was planning on the market staying below 820, which did not. We had that run all the way up to 830 something. So I ended up being down too much money to really do anything with this. So I kind of what I call lock it down, where I limit my losses on the upside. It just buys me time to be right for the market to come back into my range. If what we were talking holds true this week, again, this expires on Thursday night, well, actually Friday morning, but my last trading day is Thursday. If what we think is going to happen and this actually pulls back into the 780, 790 area, we should be able to take some sort of profit out of this. If not, for the month. If not, if it hangs here, we're probably going to end up exiting it at some point, because either exiting it, or I may buy a couple more verticals and level this off so I can hold it through expiration near my max loss number. If the market takes off hard to the upside, then we'll just kind of let it go and exit at some point up here. Or I can again put some more verticals in here possibly and let it expire. It depends on the timing of the moves. But this trade could still go either way coming into expiration. It depends on whether the market's going to do its thing and give us a little bit of a break here, or if it's going to just hang, which is pretty much the worst thing as far as I'm concerned could happen. I don't really want it to hang here. But we'll give it a few days, we'll see where it is, and just make a decision from that point, and I'll let you know when I close it. As of yet, I have not entered the March position. I'm just kind of waiting to see how this plays out, giving the market some time to decide what it wants to do. When this is closed, I will decide whether I actually want to do a March position or just head straight into April. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do a March position. I kind of like what March looks like at this point, so I think that will be good. And that's about what I have. I'll keep you up to date with any changes in the positions. Other than that, have a great trading week, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.